Well, millions of young workers in Poland will soon get a huge financial burden lifted. A new law goes into effect Thursday that will eliminate income tax entirely for those younger than 26 who make under a certain amount of money each year. It's part of a plan to keep workers from fleeing to other EU countries in search of better paying jobs. Well, Heather Rolfe is the British-based National Institute of Economic and Social Research. She joins us now from London via Skype. Thanks so much for joining us. This is a fascinating story, certainly interesting way to try and keep people in the country, because we know ever since Poland joined the EU, young people have been taking the opportunity to find better paying work elsewhere in the bloc. The question is, will this sort of tactic, this strategy work?
I think it's unlikely to work. It's a little too late. So 1.7 million people have left Poland to go and work elsewhere, and about 900,000 have come to the UK. So it's unlikely to attract people to go back. I think it's also unlikely to deter young people from leaving. There's, of course, other factors going on in Europe, which would, particularly in the UK, which might deter young people from coming to the UK, particularly uncertainty around Brexit. But you have to remember that young people and people in general don't necessarily always migrate for financial reasons alone. There's a lot of other reasons why they want to work elsewhere.
Yeah, it's not just about a tax break, is it? They're looking for opportunity, right?
They are, and also even with these financial cuts, a Polish person could still earn more in the UK. They're relatively low-paid workers in the UK because around 40% actually work below their levels of qualification. But even so, they also work very long hours in the UK. So even if the average hourly rate of an Eastern European worker is something like $10 an hour, 60% of them work more than 40 hours a week. And so they're able to accumulate quite a lot of money in the UK in the time that they work here. So I think overall, even with the tax breaks, a Polish person wouldn't necessarily be earning more in Poland than they would in the UK.
Of all the EU countries, Poland has the highest number of university graduates working outside the country. But for those that do decide to come back, to take up this offer, what happens when they turn 26?
Yeah, well, of course, then the tax breaks won't apply. And I think actually this is where the Polish government actually has made a bit of a misjudgment, in that the crucial time to get people to leave, to return to their home country, is when they're thinking of settling down and having children. Of course, that generally happens in late 20s, early 30s. So the tax breaks might be better targeted at somewhat older people. I think the other thing to remember is, exactly as you said, that such a high proportion are not working at their level of qualification within the UK. So a greater incentive, as far as the Polish government's concerned, is to put much more money into training and offering those people careers which could then build on the experience they've had in the UK and other countries in Europe to make the most of that experience.
Given that the UK is one of the most popular destinations for young Polish people, and we're currently seeing what's happening with Brexit, the pound is dropping, surely that might work in Poland's favour, that people might just leave the UK and return home?
Well, actually, there's indications that is happening, and I think that's for several reasons. So, first of all, as you said, the uncertainty around Brexit. So, Polish people are no longer sure whether they're able to come and live and work in the UK in the longer term. Of course, they can at the moment, and they will be able to until we leave the EU, and there's a guarantee that they'll be able to settle as long as they arrive in the UK before that date. There's other factors, of course, the fall in the value of sterling, and also an increase in the economic health of Poland and other countries. So economic factors do play a role, and I think actually the British government is probably in the longer term going to do the Polish government's work for it, because migration has already slowed down, and I think it's going to slow down even more.
Heather Rolfe from the National Institute of Economic and Social Research, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Well, still to come here at the International Desk. The countdown is on for the first of two crucial Democratic debates here on CNN. Which candidates will stand out in these key face-offs? We are live in Detroit when we come back.